Hi everyone, today I'm here to bring you a full body Pilates Reformer workout focused on side lying and obliques. As far as equipment goes for this workout, what you need is a reformer and a box. As always, please feel free to modify the springs of the workout as necessary to suit how you're feeling today. When you're ready, gather your equipment because this workout starts now. Alright guys, so I'm all set up. I have 2 heavy and 1 medium spring on. For me that's 2 reds and a blue. I have my foot bar set up in an extra high position. My headrest is up and my straps are just hanging out on my pegs for now. We're going to start laying down on our side today. So come on down, head on the headrest. Find a comfortable position where your hips can be stacked, where your bottom shoulder is comfortable. For me, I like to grab onto my peg with my bottom hand and my shoulder block with my top hand. Right away, I want you to think about lifting your bottom obliques, so you might be able to slide a slight piece of paper underneath you, and then you're going to take your top foot onto the foot bar. I'm going to work with my top foot fairly far forward so that my heel is almost directly underneath my knee. I'm pushing down through my heel. From here, I'm going to start by activating my top glute, and then when everybody's ready, we are going to press the carriage out and pull the carriage in. Inhale to press, and exhale to pull. Good. Slow and steady here. Spring is fairly heavy for this single leg. Finding your breath. Nice. Think about lengthening long through the crown of the head, lengthening long through the tailbone as well. And 4 more here. My thigh bone is basically parallel to the floor, knee pointing straight forward. Last 2. And last 1. Now come halfway in and come up and down just an inch. Activating the glute. Slow and steady here. Let's do 5 more. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Now straighten that top leg all the way out and come all the way in. I'm going to take off my sock for stability's sake. And then we're going to move to the toes. So toes a little bit further back on the foot bar so that your heel is more underneath your seat. From here, keeping the heel lifted, we're going to press all the way out and in. Again, knee pointing straight forward, parallel legs. Let's do 5 more here. Last 2. And last 1. Come halfway in and come out and in, just an inch. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press all the way out. Come all the way in. Nice. Externally rotate your legs so that your toes are still on the board, but your knee, on the foot bar, but your knee is pointing more up to the ceiling. Your hips are still stacked, so I'm trying not to let my top hip roll back. And then we are going to just press the carriage out and stay out. From here, lower your heel down and lift it up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Think about the heel going straight up through the center of the calf. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift the heel high, come all the way in. Extend your leg on top of the foot bar. You can also do this with the leg underneath the foot bar. I just am going to work at a higher angle today. I'm still thinking about holding my bottom obliques up, and then I'm just going to do a very small lift and lower above the foot bar. Nice job. You've got 8 more here. So top of the hip should feel very active. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now draw the knee in deeply to the chest and reach under the foot bar with the leg, deeply into the chest and over the foot bar. Trying not to lose that little space, that lightness underneath the bottom oblique. Let's do 4 more here. The last 2. On this last one, hold the leg under the foot bar. Lift the leg up, press that calf into the foot bar and hold here for 8, 7, creating your own opposition, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Relax there for a moment. Come all the way up to seated. I'll take my other sock off. And before we move to the other side, we'll just take a little hip stretch. So one ankle crossed over and just stretch into that hip. Try to take a few deep breaths here before we move to the other side. Nice. Okay, let's roll over. Find a comfortable position down on your shoulder, head on the headrest. Bottom hand is on your peg, top hand is on your shoulder block if that felt comfortable for you. Bring your top heel onto the foot bar, stack your hips and float those lower obliques off the mat just slightly. From here, your heel is directly underneath your knee, and you're going to press the carriage out and pull the carriage in. Good, let's do 5 more here. Again, knee is pointing straight forward. Last one, we're going to come halfway in and press out and in just that inch. Smooth and steady here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press all the way out. Come all the way in. Move your toes where your heel was, so it's a little further back on the foot bar. Keeping the heel elevated, press all the way out and in. Last 4. Again, come just about halfway in, and then control that movement. Make it small. 1 inch out, 1 inch back in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press all the way out. Externally rotate your legs so your heel can drop under that foot bar. And when you're ready, lower and lift the heel. Good, 5. Last 2. And last 1. Come all the way in. Extend your leg over the foot bar if that's what you did on the other side. Stack the hips and then a little lift above the foot bar and down. Nice, 5 more. 4 more, and 1. Now keeping the hips stacked, draw the knee into the chest and then reach the foot under the foot bar, and then into the chest and over the foot bar. As the knee comes in, I'm fighting against the bottom ribs, sliding deeply into the mat and trying to keep everything active. Last 4. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your leg back underneath the foot bar if it's not there already. Find some upward pressure into the bar and hold for 8, 7, 6, the last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest that knee, come up to seated for a moment. Take your feet over to the side of the reformer and find that outer hip stretch. So glutes are nice and active. Very nice job. We're going to stay on this spring for one more exercise, just a little bit of bridging. So I'm going to take my headrest down. Good. And we'll end up laying down in just a moment. I'm going to stay on this one heavy and one medium spring for now. Come on down onto your back. Make sure you're a comfortable distance between your shoulders and your shoulder blocks. Bring your heels onto the foot bar about sit bone distance apart and reach your fingers long down to the edge of the carriage. Press the carriage up just an inch or so. Make sure the heels feel nice and stable. I'm pulling my toes back towards my shins. Tuck the tailbone under and roll the hips up into a bridge. And then roll the hips back down. Nice. Inhale here at the base. Exhale, roll the spine up. And roll the spine down. Keeping the front of the neck nice and long. Gaze is up towards the ceiling. Articulating that spine. Oh, let's do 2 more here. And on this last one, we are going to stay lifted. Good. So from here, I want you to just drop one hip, lift it back up, drop the other hip, lift it back up. We are rotating through the waist. We're not swinging the hips side to side. So it's just a hip drop towards the carriage. Hip drop towards the carriage. Good for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Center and roll the hips back down. Briefly sit up for me and let's take off our heavy spring. So we're left with just that medium spring on. Coming up to kneeling, facing sideways. I'm going to align myself so that I'm fairly far towards the foot bar side. I'm going to grab my strap that's closest to me and place the loop on my elbow. Now I have a shorter and a longer loop. I'm going for the shorter loop, but if you don't have an option, whatever works for you. And you can always go for the longer loop if this feels too heavy. So, oh, I'm sorry, I still have such a heavy spring on. Okay, come on up. Hands behind the head. Even weight through the knees here. Take a breath, inhale, and just get really tall through the spine. And then exhale and laterally flex the spine towards the foot bar. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, reach over. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, reach over. Imagining you're between 2 narrow panes of glass. Your hips are pressing forward. This hip is not coming back as you rotate. I'm not rotating through, as you side bend. I'm not rotating through the pelvis. For 4, and 3, and 2. And last time, let's continue this into a circle. So we go over, forward with the torso, upper body flexion, and up. Over, forward, and up. Let's do 4 more here. 3. And 1. Good. So high kneeling, grab onto your strap. Longer loop or shorter loop is fine. Arms out to the sides, kind of reaching upwards towards the ceiling. Pull the low belly up and in. Squeeze the space between your knees on the carriage. From here we do an overhead reach, and then we widen the arms. And overhead reach, and widen the arms. Nice. So if you noticed, I just changed back to my shorter loop because I wanted a larger range of motion for my upper body. So feel free to play with things as you go. Last 4 here. And 3. Last time. Hands interlace. Let the spring take you over towards the shoulder blocks, and then exhale back over to the other side. Last 4. Last 2. And 1. And rest. Good. From here, come down to seated. We're going to stay on this same side and lay back on our back. So you want your tailbone very close to the front edge of the carriage, and then you're going to lay all the way down. I am going to keep this strap in my hand, and I'm going to bring my hands back behind my head here, keeping my knees in tabletop. The strap is in the hand that's closest to the shoulder blocks, and we're just going to do a little rotation towards the foot bar and center. So it is not going to be a big movement. Again, shorter or longer loop. Keeping the knees as central as possible. Exhale, rotate. Think about that opposite rib reaching towards the opposite hip. Last 3. 2. And 1. Nice. Place your strap back, but stay where you are. Hands back behind the head. And now we do that same rotation to the same side again without the strap. So this time around, you'll have a much bigger range of motion. I want you to think about really sliding that rib up and over to the hip. And 4 more here. And 1. Come center, roll up, and we'll do that same series on the other side. So stand up and turn around. Come to kneeling on the carriage. Again, I'm a little bit further towards the foot bar side. Shorter or longer loop is going to go up over the elbow. Hands behind the head. Even weight through both knees. And now when you're ready, we're going to laterally flex the spine. Think about how tall you can grow as you lift back up to center. The last 4 here. The last 2. And let's make this into a circle. So over, upper body goes forward, around, and up. Over, forward, around, and up. Last 3. And 2. And 1. Very nice job. Release your hands. Take your hands into the loop that you prefer instead. Bring your arms out to the sides. And here we go for that overhead reach. Last 5. Last 3. Interlace your hands overhead. Laterally flex the spine, side. Exhale, side. for 4. Last 2. And 1. Very nice job. Come center. Have a seat with your feet forward and take your loop onto your elbow. Hands behind the head. And here we go for that little bit of rotation. Knees are in tabletop. You're rotating towards that foot bar side, pulling your elbows slightly across. For 4. And 1. Place your strap back. Hands behind the head, knees are still on tabletop. Find that larger rotation. Let's do 4 more here. And 1. And center. Sit up. Place a few more springs onto your carriage to stabilize the carriage so it does not move. I'm going to get my foot bar a little further out of my way. And then we are going to grab our box. So box goes on. Short box. For me, in front of the shoulder blocks. If you're taller, you might go over the shoulder blocks. And then we'll come to side seated on the box. So one of my knees is going to be bent. My top foot is going to go underneath my foot strap. And I'm going to find a very long line through my upper body. Hips are stacked again here. My shoulders are stacked as well. And I'm reaching long through the crown of my head. Hover your hand beyond the shoulder block. Take your other hand behind your head. From here we reach towards the floor and up. Over and up. Last 4. Last 2. And 1. Bottom hand behind the head, find a long line through the upper body, rotate upwards, and pulse up. 8, 7, 6, 5. Last 2 and 1. Center, rotate down, pulse up. 8. So rear oblique here. 6. The last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a stretch down towards the well, relaxing your back knee. Good. Come on back up, hand on the headrest, but take your foot out from underneath that strap. So again, we rested on top of the foot bar. My top hand is my anchor here. Float the foot, flex the foot, kick, point, kick, point. 4, 3, 2. Last one, I'm going to hold my leg to the back, point it. I'm going to rotate my torso towards the box. My top arm extends long, and I lift long arm and leg for 8, 7, 6. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up to seated. Take your free leg up and over your other leg. If this feels comfortable, sit here for a little stretch and twist. Nice. Okay, turn on over. Replace your foot underneath the strap. Find your long line through your torso. Bottom hand is down on that headrest. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked as well. Obliques are lifted, your ribs are intact. Top hand goes behind the head, bottom hand reaches slightly beyond the headrest, and then we go up and down towards the floor. For 4. Head is in line with the spine. 3. Last one, bottom hand behind the head. Find your long line. Rotate upwards with the torso. Pulse up. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2. Rotate down towards the floor. Pulse up for 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that brief stretch down. Relax the top leg. Feel that stretch going all the way into the hip. Come on up, place your bottom hand back on your headrest. Take your top foot on top of the foot bar. And then when you're ready, we flex kick forward for side leg kick. Point reach behind. I'm still lifted through my bottom obliques here. Last 4, 3, 1, hold the leg to the back. Top arm extends, rotate your torso slightly towards the well and lift arm and leg for 8, 7, 6. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sit up. Take that stretch where you cross the leg over top of the other thigh and twist if it feels good. Nice job. I am going to turn over again. This time around, I'm coming down to 1 heavy spring. I'm going to come down forearm on the box, bottom knee on the box, and top foot is going to be on the platform. I have my big toe hooked over the edge so that my top leg feels nice and stable. I'm just going to do a few presses out here and in. So already I feel my lower obliques staying nice and active. This is option number 1. Option number 2, you take your bottom foot behind the top foot, you bend both knees, and you press out. Good. Let's do 4 more here. On this last one, I'm going to stay out. I'm going to take my top hand to the ceiling. Holding the carriage nice and steady, I'm rotating my top arm underneath and then lifting back up. Again, the bottom knee could be down on the carriage here. Rotating just through the waist, through the ribs. Last 3, 2, and 1. Good. From here, we take a big side bend over, lifting the bottom obliques as high as we can. And then we dip the hips down towards the well slightly as we bring the hand down towards the hip. Up and over, and down. Just 2 more here. And last time. And carefully pull the carriage in. Bottom knee comes down. Let's repeat that on the other side. So turning around, bringing your forearm down to the box, your bottom knee down to the carriage, your top foot is on the edge of the platform, nice and stable here. We press out and in. So again, this whole series could be done down on the knee. If you're feeling good and you'd like to try to float the bottom knee, press the carriage out. Bottom foot comes behind the top foot, and we pull in and out. Three, 2, and 1. Hold the carriage out. Reach your top arm towards the ceiling. Let's thread the needle on this side. Reach under. Reach up. Reach under. Reach up. 4 more. Last 2. And 1. Good. Find that arc of the body up and down. Hand goes overhead and then towards the hip. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come in, carefully place the bottom knee down if it was lifted. And face towards the box. Bring your forearms down, elbows under shoulders. Both sets of toes are against the platform now, and we're going to float the knees and press the carriage out. Now just stay here. Rock the hips right and then left. Trying to keep the box as still as you can in space. Let's do 4 more. And last one. Pull the carriage in so that the knees are underneath the hips. Walk your toes so your inner thighs are close to one another. And one more time, rock through the hips. For 4. And 3. Knees are bent at about 90 degrees, 2, and 1. Carriage in, knees down, fingertips up on the box. Make sure the carriage is home. Come up to standing on the box. Bring one of your feet up onto the foot bar behind you. I'm going to elevate my heel of my standing leg here, and then I'm just going to press out, and in, and press out, and in. Your option is to keep both hands on the carriage. Your other option is for one arm to extend forward in a long line. For 4, and 3, and 1. Come in, switch sides. So heel elevated, other foot comes up. All 10 fingers are down at the moment. Your standing knee is quite bent throughout. Option, opposite hand goes forward. The opposite hand to the leg that's on the foot bar. For 4. And 1. Come all the way in. We're going to switch our feet up again. This time I'm going to leave my heel down, and I'm actually going to tuck my toes and put them up on the box. If that's not comfortable for you, you don't have to do that, but make sure most of the weight is in your heel. And again, bend deeply, press, press. 4 more. And 1. And switch. Take your time in your transitions. Last 4. Last 2. And 1. Very nice job. Carefully have a seat on your box, turning around to face the foot bar. Lift your heels up a little bit onto the box. Shift your upper body forward. Hover your hips. From here, my fingertips can be down on the foot bar or elevated, and I'm just lowering my hips down towards the foot bar and up. For 8, 7, 6, last 4, the last 2, and 1, hands to foot bar, hips low, press the carriage out. From here we come into our long stretch and pull in. Long stretch and pull in. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Very nice job. Bring the carriage in. Step off to the side. Remove your box. Step to the side of your carriage. Bring one foot against the shoulder block. Keep the torso elevated and come down into a stretch. Reach up and over with your inside arm. Feel that stretch down the side of the obliques. Come center and switch sides. Reach up and over when you're ready. And come center. Good, and you guys are all done. I hope you like that short little oblique and lower body set. Please leave me a comment or a question down below. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you'd like to see next. As always, please subscribe and share.